Valentine's Day General Laws meeting to order. If we can open the roll for attendance. Okay. Well, we have a quorum. Okay, so first on the docket, I believe, is the uncontested docket. These are Senate bills with identical House bills. We have Senate Bill 1222, patroned by Senator Mason. Senate Bill 1313, patroned by Senator Bell. The Senate Bill 1401, patroned by Senator Lewis. And then last is Senate Bill 1491, patroned by Senator Bell. Each one of these bills had identical House bills, and passed the House. House versions passed unanimously.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
May I pull Senate Bill 1222 out of the block for the purposes of making several line amendments?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, on 1313, we found a DGS correction, and we have a substitute on that. If we could pull that out as well, or go ahead and add that substitute.
Y'all are messing my docket out.
My sincere apologies.
Move to PBI. No. So, Chairman Wampler, Senate Bill 1222 is coming out of the block.
Yes, Mr.
And
Chair.
then Senate Bill 1313 is coming out of the block. So we have two left in that block. All righty. Anyone else want to pull a bill out or have any questions or comments? If we could put those on the board, all members wishing to cast their votes on these measures, please do so.
No motion to report.
I guess we do need a motion.
I'll move to report.
Second.
All right, there's a motion, a second to report how Senate Bills 1401 and 1491. All members, please destroy the roll or current roll and reschedule. All right. All right. Okay. Those bills.
What, carry?
Yeah, okay.
No vote, carry?
All right, those bills report on a vote of 21-0. Okay. All right, so let's deal with Senate Bill, let's see. Delegate Wampler, do you have anyone here?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to take these amendments if that's all right.
Well, I'll try to get Senator Bell out of here if I can.
Go ahead if,
All right,
if you'd like to proceed.
Senator Bell.
Mr. Chairman, these are just further cleanups. We had another small one that DGS wanted, and that's what we just did with that substitute. So basically, this was just as a reminder. 1313 was the paid when paid subcontractor. Delegate Wiley had the companion to that. His is going to conform to what we just did, and this was the outcome of the summer-long work group. And we believe there's peace in Valley. I don't think there's any opposition to this.
Okay, can we get those amendments reported?
Mr. Chairman, it's actually a substitute and it's available on LIS.
Okay, all right. Can you explain what the substitute does, just for clarification?
The substitute is actually, there were a couple of minor technical things that DGS wanted us to change the wording on. Just specifically, there was, we cleaned up on lines 45 through 47, which was just identifying the tiers involved, the lower subcontractor. And then lines 50 to 53, we clarified and put a code reference in there about architectural and engineering firms. That's pretty much the gist of it.
Okay, all right, all members been able to access that online and ready to proceed?
I'll move the substitute.
All right, substitute's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of adopting the substitute, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Substitute's before us.
Move to report the bill.
All right, there's a motion, a second to report. Senate Bill 1313. All members, please cast your vote. Delegate Wampler, your vote's not registered there. All right, that bill reports 22-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So much love here today.
Yeah. Spread it. It's Valentine's. Okay. Chairman Wampler, Senate Bill 1222.
Thank you. These amendments come at the request of Senator Mason, and we're going to match up these amendments with my House Bill 2235 when it goes through the Senate, and I would ask our counsel if she could help me report the line amendments.
Mr. Chairman, there are 6 line amendments. They are available on LIS. On line 862 of the engrossed bill, after affecting, insert a common area or common element as those terms are defined in sections 55.1-1800, 55.1-1900, and 55.1-2100, comma, N. On line 945, after charge, insert a post-closing fee and. On line 953, after for such, insert post-closing and. On line 955, after fees, insert comma as published by the Common Interest Community Board and effective as of January 12th, 2023, comma. On line 964, after association period, strike the remainder of line 964. And lastly, on line 984, insert a third enactment clause that states that the provisions of this enactment shall not apply to any contract ratified prior to July 1st, 2023.
Mr. Chairman, if I could speak to those to try to help the members understand.
Let's get those before us first.
I'll move the amendments.
All right. There's a motion and a second to adopt the line amendments as reported by our counsel. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right.
Mr. Chair, those line amendments, the first set adds a common area, a common element as defined in the code, simply matches up some definitions that were excluded from the original draft. We also allow for a post-closing fee in the second line amendment and the third line amendment. And then we also add an enactment clause that says that the provisions of this enactment shall not apply to any contract ratified prior to July 1, 2023, which will be the effective date of this bill. And those are the changes, but no harm to the bill. Consider them friendly.
Okay. All right. Everyone been able to access those on Delegate Boulevard? You have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I guess for Chairman Wampler, could you go back? I think there was a specific date referenced with respect to an action by the Common Interest Community Board. And I was just wondering if you could put that into context. I guess my concern is codifying something that would be done specifically by the board, since that hypothetically go ahead and change, and would hate to have us having to come back and change the law in order to reconcile that.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask a representative from the Realtors to come forward and explain that, but I believe it is because the Common Interest Community Board will establish these fees, and so at that point in time, that's when they'll become effective. But I'll defer.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Delegate. That date that we're referring to is the baseline date that the Common Interest Community Board has set the maximum fees. So they set the maximum fees every 5 years, and our language continues that process. Every 5 years they can adjust with the CPI. We just wanted to make sure that it started from the rates that they just published, the fees that they just published, and they just went into effect on January 12th, 2023, which is why we tagged that date.
Okay. Could you just state your name for the record,
Sorry,
please?
Erin Corman with the Realtors.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to address the amendments? Okay, all minds clear? All right.
Move to report.
All right, there's a motion.
Second.
Motion and second to report. All members, please cast your vote. Yeah, as amended, yeah. Thank you. All right, Senate Bill 1222 reports on a vote of 21-0. All right, next on the docket is 1002. I want to pass that by temporarily, as well as Senate Bill 1263. Next up will be Senate Bill 1308. All right, this bill had an identical bill. House Bill 2332. I'm sorry. It was a contested bill, so that's why it's not in the other block. All right. So the House version passed 22-0 in committee and unanimously on the floor. Assuming the Senate bill didn't fare as well. So Anyone here wish to speak to this measure? Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll move the report.
There's a motion and a second to report Senate Bill 1308. All members, please cast your vote. All right, the bill reports.
Mine is not recording.
How do you vote?
Yes, yes,
All
Mr.
right,
Chair.
all right. Delegate Wampler is a yes. So this bill reports 20-0. Okay, next on the block of bills is Senate bills with similar House bills. The first is Senate Bill 976, patroned by Senator Peake. Delegate Runyon had a similar bill as House Bill 1930, which passed this committee 22-0 and passed the House 100-0.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to note that in careful comparison of the two bills, they are identical.
Okay.
Not just
All right.
similar.
Okay.
If that
All right.
helps anyone's vote.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll move the report.
All right, there's a motion, a second to report Senate Bill 976. All members, please cast their vote. All right, that bill reports. Delegate Brewer, you plan on voting? Bill reports 21-0. Next is Senate Bill 1094, patroned by Senator Normant. Delegate Batten had a similar bill, House Bill 1912, that reported from this committee, was reported to appropriations. Again, out of appropriations, 20-2, and the House passed 98-0. And although they're not identical, I think the intent is to report Senator Norman's bill as is, and then conform Delegate Batten's to his bill in the Senate. So
I'll move the report.
there's a motion, a second to report 1094, Senate Bill 1094. All members, please cast your vote. Okay. That bill reports by a vote of 19-1. Next is Senate Bill 1460, patroned by Senator McClellan. A similar bill was patroned by Delegate Watts in the House, House Bill 2112. Passed this committee 22-0 and passed the House unanimously. And I believe the intent is to conform Senator McClellan's bill to Delegate Watts's bill.
And I'll make that motion.
All right, there's a motion and a second to conform Senate Bill 1460 to House Bill 2122. All members, please cast your vote. Well, there was a motion to conform. All those say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Chair will now entertain a motion on the.
Move the report.
All right, there's a motion and a second to report Senate Bill 1460 as conformed. Please cast your vote. Senate Bill 1460 is reported as conformed to House Bill 2122 on a vote of 20-0. All right. All right. Next bill is Senate Bill 1081, reported out of Subcommittee 5 just a little while ago. That's Senate Bill 1081. Subcommittee recommended reporting 8-0. I'll turn and I'll let you handle this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 1081 from Senator Edwards is a reformation of the Office of the Children's Ombudsman. The definition of abused and neglected child is amended to match the definition in 63.2. The bill was intended prior to match law that was codified in Michigan and not Virginia. So this is just merely a cleanup bill, and I would move that we pass Senate Bill 1081.
All right, there's a motion and a second to report Senate Bill 1081, I have Delegate Rome. You have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Either, I guess, for the committee chair or anyone, if they're in the audience, who can speak to the bill. Basically, there's a section under here. It's 2.2-446, confidentiality of record of children's ombudsman disclosure. This part basically is now stating that it says all records of the office are confidential, shall not be used for the purposes of the chapter, and the new languages are not subject to the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. I realize that the existing text around that did not include FOIA. I want to ask basically two questions there. One is, has there been an issue that's come up since we originally codified this language in which a FOIA, basically a FOIA request produced an adversarial result? And second, if there was any discussion that actually happened about that in the subcommittee?
I think, Mr. Chair, I think there's a phone in front of the audience on this one.
All right, thank you.
We're on phone a friend. Ms. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Delegate Rome. The bill, the way that it was originally written, yes, they were asked for records that they were not confident that they could be kept, and they were case records related to case files. And the original bill was boot and suspenders. They had, some protection, the existing language, and then they said, and you're not even going to be subject to FOIA as an entire entity. And so on the Senate side, they said, okay, well, we'll put you back under FOIA so that your administrative records and so forth are still subject to disclosure under FOIA, but we want to make sure that the case files aren't. So we picked up the language from the long-term care ombudsman and put it in there.
Delegate Rome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my follow-up question for the witness in that case then would be, well, first, thank you for the explanation, but the second part on this is, were there any record or children's records or children's identifying information that came out because of the FOIA request? And if so, how was that dealt with? Or if not, is there anything else dealing with this that basically for anything that deals with the administrative portion of this and the governmental portion of this, we were able to keep open records for, but any identifying information about specific children or any issues related to children that were not?
My understanding was that no information was released, but they had been requested and they were not confident that they could keep it.
Okay, thank you. Can you just simply state your name for the record?
I'm sorry, Megan Ryan with the Coalition for Open Government.
We know who you are.
You called me a friend.
Yeah, no, the viewing public. The viewing public. Okay, all right. Any other questions, comments, or editorials on this bill?
I think we had a motion already before us.
Okay. There was a proper motion, a second to report Senate Bill 1081. All members, please cast your vote. Okay, that bill reports 20-0. Okay, so we're back to Senator Cosgrove. Senate Bill
Chairman,
1002.
Yes, sir. Senate Bill 1002 is similar to Delegate Batten's Bill 1119. Mr. Chairman, what I ask you to do is to conform my bill to Delegate Batten's bill, but they will have to go into conference because there is an amendment that has been requested by the Ethics Committee that would allow gifts that may be received in excess of $100 to then be sent on, as is done now, to the Library of Virginia.
Okay.
So that's what the amendments would do, and we can do this in conference.
Well, you want to do it now, or do you want to do it in conference?
Well, if we do it to my bill now,
Okay.
and then you conform it to Delegate Batten's, then I think you just took the amendment out.
We don't need to conform it. We
Okay.
just, well, you can, is her run?
Well,
hers-
mine is different than hers.
Okay.
I will say, hers actually mentions different countries
Okay.
that are called out. Mine basically says that any country listed by the U.S. Department of State as a terrorist state
Okay.
would be impacted by the bill. So there are
Okay.
some
All right,
substantial
all right.
differences.
Okay, so let's do it that way then.
Yes,
We'll conform and then send it to conference.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
I'll move to conform the bill.
I'm sorry. I'm getting the head nod from committee will be at ease just for a minute.
Howard,
So, in talking to council, it sounds like the best, well, we can go two paths, I think. We can conform your bill to Delegate Batten's, but then we would need the Senate to amend Delegate Batten's when it gets over there for them to be different.
that's correct. Yes, sir.
Or we can vote on yours like it is now, which means it'll be different than Delegate Batten's, and you can still go to conference. So,
Well, Mr. Chairman, in courtesy to Delegate Batten, I think that we probably ought to conform one
Okay,
to hers
all
and
right.
put them into conference and get the amendments in there.
okay, all right, we'll do it that way. All right, so whoever made a motion before, just, was that the motion to conform? All right, okay, and there was a second to that. So all those in favor of conforming Senator Cosgrove's bill to Delegate Batten's bill, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, okay. All right, I think the ayes have it. All right, so I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
All right, there's a motion, a second to report Senate Bill 1002 as conformed to Delegate Batten's bill. All right, all members, please cast your vote. Your vote's not. All right. That bill reports on a vote of 11 to 7
Thank you,
as
Mr. Chairman.
conformed. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right. The last bill on the docket is Senate Bill 1263, patroned by Senator Hackworth. There's an identical bill patroned by Delegate Head, 2312, which passed this committee 12 to 10 and passed the House 53 to 46. I do not believe there are any amendments or any substitutes to this bill. Is that correct? All right. Chair will entertain a motion. There's a motion and a second to report Senate Bill 1263. All members, please. What? 1 second. I think Delegate Rome. I think it was the last one. Okay. All right. So I don't know if I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the conversation, but no. I had you on my list of people who wanted to speak. Okay, all right. I just want to make sure it wasn't on this one. All right. Okay, so there's a proper motion before the committee to report Senate Bill 1263. The clerk, please open the roll. Members, cast your vote. All right. That bill reports on a vote of 10 to 8. All right. There's no other business coming before the committee. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a motion second to adjourn. All members say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.